got to learn to prospect 24 hours a day. Now, I talked a minute ago about goals, and about everything that JR wrote on that paper is in that envelope over there. I told you all you had to do was go get it, and all your dreams and goals will come true. But not one of you went after it. Don't go now. No. Don't go now. The point I'm trying to make is all of your dreams and goals can be as close to a thing written down on a piece of paper in an envelope. To be quite honest with you, I was only kidding. JR didn't do that. But I want you to stay here. Stay here. And I'm trying to make a point to you. The point is this. Your goals are as close as that wall right there. But what's holding you back is somebody or something is telling you all the time, you can't go after it yet. You can't go yet. You can't go yet. And you choose to listen to that garbage. You do. But I think each of you guys, because you took the step to raise your hand before anybody else in here did. And that's a lot further towards your goal than any of those hands would ever be. And I think you should do that. But that's a prime example. Every day, you guys, you wake up, you go to work, you get around your friends, you get around negative people, and they tell you those things don't work, you can't have that, why do you have that picture? I have that picture there because I'm deserving of it. And every one of you is deserving of any goal you set. And don't ever let those idiots out there ever steal your dream from you. This is the reason why you give up. Is because you allow dream stealers to take your dream away from you. And you got to stop letting that happen. What if our forefathers before us that came here long before any of us were here, what if they would have given up? What if Columbus would have given up back when they told them that the earth was flat and you're going to fall off the end of the earth? What if he would have given up on his dream? So quit letting people steal your dreams. Find yourself some goals, some great short-term goals. I love the fact of how excited he was about his Mercedes. He knew everything about it. He was this close to knowing how to get it, and I know without a shadow of a doubt he'll have it by the time I come up here in January. I truly believe that. I really do. And you've got to do the same thing. Sit down and break it down. How do we create leaders? How do we create leaders? A lot of leaders are born, but there's a lot of leaders that are created. And the way I create leaders is I delegate. I learn when to let go of the tether a little bit. A lot of us, as I said at the beginning, we come in and we start managing our people, and we start becoming babysitters. We start becoming parents to the people we bring into the program. And I relate this business a lot to being a parent, parenting, and knowing when to let your kids go. Let them get out and bump their knees and scrape their heads and, break an elbow or shatter a bone or something, whatever. Let them get out and experience the world. And as parents, some of us are a little older in here, we know because we have children that are already out on their own. And it's a lot like this business. You've got to learn to let people go. When I want to teach somebody how to show the plan, what's your first name?
Jean.
If Jean were my new person I sponsored, and I went out on 3 or 4 or 5 appointments with her, the next appointment I go with Jean, and I'm sitting with
Eric.
Eric's our prospect. I'm going to sit here and I'll do a little overview, and I'm going to say, at this time, Jean's going to show you the marketing plan, and I'll slide the computer over to Jean, and I'll let Jean show Eric the marketing plan. I won't tell her ahead of time that I'm doing it, but she's going to do it. And she'll mess it up. And it's okay, because Eric doesn't know. Only I know. And it's hard for me because I sit there and I bite my lip and I bite my tongue and I'm like, oh, tell him this, tell him this, tell him this. I wait till she's done, then I clean up. And you'd be shocked and amazed how great she really does. And that's how leaders are born. Same thing with getting people up in front of the room to show the plan. I can remember back when we first started, we had a meeting every week in Lou Manfredi's office. Every week we had a meeting. We had to have some place, and I truly believe this, that you have to have a place every week for people to come to. If you're out doing one-on-ones all week long, you have to bring people to a centrally located place to have a meeting, to show the plan again so you can get them around other people. Whether it's an HBP or a UBP, whatever you want to call it, have a place where everybody can bring their prospects to, that they show the plan to, they get them around people like Andrew that can talk to them and close them for you. But more importantly, they can talk to other people who are already in the business. And every week we have this meeting, and it started out, there was 4, 5, or 6 of us, and it was like that for the first couple of weeks. And then it started coming. I started bringing people. Ben Ginder started bringing people, and it started growing. And next thing you know, we filled the room with people. And what was the point I was going to? Oh, and how I got in front of the room. I always told Lou, you'll never get me in front of the room to show the plan. I'll bring people every week. And my goal every week was never, ever, ever to let my sponsor down. And letting my sponsor down meant that I was never bringing a prospect to a meeting. And I never wanted that to happen. I didn't care if I had to go out an hour before we used to call them second looks then. If I went out an hour before the second look and I grabbed somebody by the collar, a homeless guy or something, drug him in and said, here, I'll buy you dinner, but you're coming to this meeting. My goal every week was to take somebody because I never wanted to let my sponsor down. And in not wanting to let him down meant that I was never going to let myself down. Okay? So I always told Lou, I said, I'll never get in front of the room and show the plan. And one day we come in, there were about, we could fit about 50 people in the room, and then there were about, I had another little room, we do trainings for the distributors, we had about 30 distributors in the other room. He comes running in the room, he comes up, whispers in my ear, he says, Keith, I just got a phone call. I gotta go, man, you gotta show the plan. I said, what? No. You gotta show the plan. And I did. I get up there, and back then we used to draw on the chalkboard. And you know, I'm up there wiggling in the chalkers line, and like JR talks about that, and man, I was done in 15 minutes. And I was soaked. I was drenched. I just came from real estate. I was all dressed up. My tie was even soaked. That's how much I sweated. That's how bad I hated it in front of the room. But you know what? I loved it. And because of that, I wanted to do it a lot more. And this is how leaders are built. By delegating, getting people to get out of their comfort zone and to do things that they would not normally do, even if you have to trick them. Okay? Even if you have to trick them. But this is the way I build leaders. You know, I get leaders to do stuff that they never thought they would be doing. And sometimes you know exactly who your leaders are when you first start working with them. There wasn't a doubt in my mind that I knew Sandy was a leader when I first met her. There wasn't a doubt in my mind. Sometimes a little over leadership, because she wants it so bad for people, and she's got a personality like me. It's one of these things, I want to get it done, because I want to see you succeed. And she thinks that way all the time. She wants you to succeed. I know Andrew's that way. I want you to succeed. Otherwise, he wouldn't have put this event on tonight for us. Because he wants every one of you to succeed, to experience what he experiences every Friday in his paycheck. He truly wants that for you. And that's what we do. Don't be picky on which events to go to. We had this problem way back in the beginning when we used to do local seminars. We'd have different speakers come in, and of course a lot of the speakers back then weren't as polished as they are today. And a lot of the speakers were absolutely horrible. I mean, you come in and literally in 5 minutes you were asleep because they were terrible. But there's always that 1 or 2 people in the room that related to that person. So you never know. I mean, don't pick and choose what events you want to go to based on who the speaker is. You never know what one speaker may say to you that knocks your socks off. And when you go there, don't go there wanting to learn everything. Go there to learn a few things. Every event you go to, even now, I'm a local coordinator. I have to go to the locals every time. And the reason why is I'm a local coordinator, and the other reason why is because I want to go. Because you never know who's going to say something that you need to hear. So go to every event that you can possibly go to. When I first sat down and I started building this business, I set my goals. I wanted to be a director. And Frank Kiefer put out a challenge to his whole team. And the challenge was you got 12 months to hit director, become an advisory council member, and become a certified trainer. Those three things. You had 12 months to do it. And I wanted to achieve all of those goals. And when Frank first put that out, I was, I think, an executive coordinator. I might have been master. And literally hit director in less than 12 months. Got on the advisory council because he had to hit it for 2 months in a row, which we did. And like 2 months later, hit executive director. And got on the advisory council. Okay? But I set my goals and I said, I'm going to prioritize. I know what's important and what isn't. There were days that I could have went to football games that had front row seats, and I didn't go. There were days that I could have went to somebody's wedding who I knew or go to a local seminar. I went to the local seminar. My wife went to the wedding. You know, I said, unless it's my death or my wedding, I'm not going. And you got to set that type of goal for yourself and prioritize. Prioritize how to prevent school, church, work, dating. That's what I just talked about. You know? What's more important to you, that hot date or a local seminar? Depends on who she is, right? Well, for you ladies in here, it depends on who he is. Where are we at? We still got about, what, a half hour or 40 minutes yet. That's just a couple of the items I picked out. Did it help this much so far? What else do you want to know about? Give me something. Who else? Go ahead. And don't think that a question is a dumb question. Go ahead.
What's on your dream board?
What's on my dream board? Well, the biggest thing on my dream board, I got to experience it today. Part of it, in so many terms or whatever. Alex and I today, we had the afternoon open this afternoon. So I said, let's go, I have to go see this movie, Gravity, with Sandra Bullock. And I said, we got to go see this thing in 3D. Because the biggest thing on my dream board is I want to go to space. I want to go to space. And I want to see this Earth, man, from space. This beautiful place that we live, I want to see it from space. And I got to see that today in 3D because the whole movie took place in space. And it shows, oh, it's absolutely amazing. You really need to go see it in 3D if you're going to go. Okay? Go see it in 3D. Absolutely amazing. That's on my dream board. I want a ranch out in Wyoming area. I would love to have about 1,000 or more acres, and that dream is going to come true here in the next couple of years. In fact, the next 2 years, that one will be off the dream board. We're going to do a trip to Alaska and a trip to Africa. Those 2 trips are going to happen in the next year. What else on my dream board? Oh, my jet. I've had that on there for a while. That's a huge dream, and that's out there. But I want to own shares in a jet, so that I don't have to drive 3 hours to Newark to fly to 45 minutes to Toronto. Right? I can just hop in my jet and be here, right? But that's on my dream board. Some other things too are to see people, reach their dreams. Another one that's on my dream board is, we've now got pictures of Sandy and Alex on our dream board because I know that their dream is to hit director in 2 years, and that's on our dream board to be there. That's why I keep flying back up here to work with them and help them to get them to director. I know that that's a dream of theirs. We have 4 other people on our dream board too, that's their dream, is to hit director, and they're personally sponsors of ours, and you know, that's who we're working with to get them to be director in the times that they want to be there. So we have a lot of great things on our dream board. But that's my biggest one, the most important to me, is to get out in space. I want to do it before I die. And Branson is going to make that happen. You know, Branson, the guy that owns Virgin Airlines and all that, he's going to get me there. And he's already got a jet that'll take you out to the edge of space. And I think the cost is around $90 grand or so. And I'm going. I just have to book it. And go ahead. How did we what?
How to get partners to the event.
How to get partners to events? Well, how I would get my partners here is, here's the deal. What's your name? Steven. Steven, I'm going to call you. You're one of my partners. Steven, hey, I just bought you a ticket to the next event. It's $30. I'll drop it off sometime later in the next day or two. When's a good time for me to drop it off to you? I mean, you told me you wanted this thing, and you said you'd do anything to build a business. I bought you a ticket. I got you one, and I got 3 other guys one, and I need paid for it. It's out of my pocket. And if they say, I don't want your ticket, no worries. I appreciated you telling me that. I absolutely. Move on. Move on. Go ahead.
Earlier you mentioned about complimenting people that you meet. How about saying that you compliment everyone? Like, one thing is so weird, right?
What if you're where? In a group? Oh, man, if there's 4 or 5 people there, I'm always saying, man, I'm going to tell you something. Like where are you? Like you're in a club or something, or a bar? Or I'll walk up wherever we are. Let's say I'm in a restaurant or something. There's 4 or 5 people. I'll walk up and say, you know what? I got to tell you guys something. I'm looking around this restaurant. You got to be the 4 or 5 greatest looking people with this whole area. And I do that. And then I'll look and say, how did that happen? How did y'all end up being the 4 or 5 nicest looking people in this whole place? How did that happen? And I'll smile and I'll laugh like that. And either they're going to look at me weird, and if they look at me weird, I'm going to say, oh, well, maybe I wouldn't talk to you guys. I'm telling you, 4 or 5 guys. And I'm not afraid to do that with people, even though there's nobody behind them. I say, oh, I wasn't talking to you guys. I told you, these guys over here. I walk away. I have fun doing this stuff. Honestly, I do. I enjoy it. But they look at me and say, oh, wow, thank you. You know, how did you guys become the 4 nice looking people in this place? How did that happen? And they just start talking to you. Build a friendship and smile. And they smile back and laugh and carry on. Oh, my gosh. And then just find out a little bit about them. You guys from the area. How often do you come to this restaurant? Where do you work? What do you do? That you're so happy. Most people hate their jobs. What do you guys do? Well, we're happy because we're off our jobs and we're in here getting a beer. All right. Wouldn't it be great if you didn't have to go to work? But you can compliment people when you're in a group. It's so easy. Just find something. Find something. Go ahead.
Yes, I have a question. Just 2 parts. If you are a leader and you are foresee someone in the team is left out, what should you do in order to help that person to get started in the team? The other aspect is, if you are the person you feel like you are left out in the team, what should you do?
If you feel like you're the person that's left out in the team, you need to go to whoever your team leader is and say, excuse me, but I feel left out. Be honest, because sometimes we can't tell. It's kind of like being married. A lot of times my wife will look at me and she'll say things like, I'm sorry, I didn't read that about. I could read your mind most of the time, but this is one time I couldn't read your mind. She reads mine all the time, so she never brings that to me. But you got to come out right out and come up and say, excuse me, but I feel a little left out. I mean, Did I do something wrong, or is there something more I can do to be more part of the team? Absolutely. You know, just be honest, because we can't, you know, as we start building teams, it's hard to read people sometimes. Like some of you are sitting there looking at me like I should, you know, came from Mars when I'm really from Venus. And then some of you are looking at me like, man, I get him. I don't know. Go ahead. What was the most difficult for me when I first got in it was my time. I personally did not have time. I was 80 hours a week. We're running all my companies and my businesses and all the employees and all the crap I put up with, and I was stressed to the max. I mean, I was in my early 30s and I was stressed to the max. My heart palpitated every night I went home. I mean, I had high blood pressure like you couldn't believe because I had so much stress on me. So for me, it was my time. And as a business guy, I learned how to schedule things. And I think you wanted me to talk a little bit about this too. I learned how to schedule things. And every night before I went to bed, I wrote down the top 10 things I needed to get done the next day in order how they should get done. So the most important things got done first, and sometimes you have to do this with this business. Write down the top 10 things that you need to get done with this business the next day. And put the most important things at the top, okay? And if you only got 6 of them done that day, then the next 4 became priority the next day. And I did this even in real estate. My secretary always had my top 10 things for the next day for me to do. She actually did it for me. Because she knew me better than I did. And she always had my top 10 things prioritized before she walked out of the office. Yeah. And she always worked from 1 in the afternoon until 8 o'clock at night. That was her hours. Okay? Because that's when realtors get most of the work done. But you got to prioritize. And learn to write things down. And, don't go to bed at night until you get the most important things done. But that was, for me, was time. And as a successful business person, and you ask any successful business person, no matter how great success they have, they'll tell you that they always overcome their objections as fast and as hard as they can, and they eat objections for breakfast, and they prioritize their time. Okay, very, very important. Let me go here, and then I'll come back over here.
You talked about having the right people. If you have one on the left and one on the right, you're pretty much set. What are the common traits?
What are the common traits of right people? Yeah. Oh, great one. Easy. They go to everything. They never hesitate to buy tickets for the next event. Never, ever buy more than what they need. I used to eat so many tickets, it was amazing. Honest to God, I would buy so many tickets for the next event that if I ate 10 or 12 of them, I didn't care. It was the 30 that showed up that I cared about. So, we all eat tickets, and if you're worried about 2 tickets in your pocket, you didn't buy enough. So they take charge. They just go. You don't have to beg them to do anything. Honestly.
How about before you're prospecting? How would you?
You can't. How about before, if you're prospecting, you can't. Here's the deal. I never, ever, ever, here's a huge tip. Write every word down. I never, ever, 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 ever look at anybody as the person that's going to do it. I always look at them as the person that's going to lead me to the person that's going to do it, and then I never, ever, 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 ever look at them until they do it. Okay? So many people, they shoot their mouths off in the beginning. I'm going to kill this thing. I'm going to... Oh
my gosh.
And you know why you don't see them 2 or 3 months later? Because they ate their words. And they're ashamed to come back and talk to you again. And that's why you don't see them after 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 months. Because they tell you how much they're going to do. I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, and they do 1/10 of what they said they're going to do. If somebody did half of what they said they were going to do, they become successful. But you can't tell people. You really can't. Those you think will, won't. Those you think won't, will. Good Lord. But I always work through people to get the people, to get the people, to get the people, to get the people. And somewhere along the line, a leader shows up.